Okay, so I've seen multiple times people talk about they can't pick just one, but multiple or all of the above. Or people saying I should combine them. So with the current powers we have showcased so far, let's combine them all and see which would you pick. Now our first set is super speed, gravity, control, electricity, and plant manipulation. Now, out the gate, this is a very stacked set of powers, and might as well call it overkill. The speed and electricity alone basically make you the Flash, but adding gravity and plant control now give you range and offensive capabilities. Now, it's not to say the stack is unbeatable, but most would struggle to deal with you, and clearly you're a global threat. And theoretically, you can use the gravity and the plants to create the means to travel in space and become a cosmic threat. So that's got to be alluring to most of the people. I don't even think most are going to wait to hear the other options. Now, the next power stack is flight, fire manipulation, sorcery, and laser vision. In the other videos, we have went over how sorcery can do all of the other things, but I will say don't sleep on the fact that having these other abilities means they're already on and you don't have to cast a spell to activate it. You can now focus your sorcery on other spells and not be helpless in between casting. So this means you constantly have options when it comes to offense and defense. So because of this, you can clearly become a global threat, and with the right spells, a cosmic threat. The only drawback I can see is now you have to have all these options in your head and be able to pick one. You better get your list of favorite spells ready to spam. Now, while I'm going through these, keep in mind which you think would stand the best chance of beating the rest. Just keep that in the back of your noggin. Now, the next power stack, we got blood control, teleportation, self-duplication, and force field. Now, this so far feels like the most fun to have as a stack of abilities. The clones, assuming they can also use your abilities, means you basically make a super-powered army that's good with offense and defense, highly mobile, and incredibly dangerous at close range. One person with blood control is already a threat to a room full of people. But now, hiding within a force field and able to send out clones and teleport if someone stronger shows up? I won't give this global, at least not in the normal sense, but due to having teleport, you could pop into places and rain clones, but it would take time to eventually cripple multiple governments and rule it all. So still an insane set of powers to face off against. It's the power in numbers, hard to fight, and an army of bloodbenders. That alone, it just sounds like the most fun to play around with. The next stack of powers we have reality warping, light and shadow manipulation, and ghost-like abilities. Now, yes, warping makes the rest unnecessary, but these are things that would be at your default. Now, that's quite literally one of the dangerous stacks if you think about it. Having ghost-like abilities make it to where most physical attacks do nothing to you. Light and shadows work off of each other, so essentially they're buffs to itself. And then you have reality warping. If you're facing anything that happens to be too strong and you literally can just give yourself a better power or simply alter the reality of your opponent. So with this stack, you are a multiversal threat. There's only a small list of powers that can deal with reality warping, which leaves you pretty much safe. Or does it? Now, are you picking this one, or are you willing to hear out the rest? Comment and let me know. Now, next stack, we have invisibility, super strength, telepathy, and radiation powers. Now, this is an interesting pairing of abilities, and if we think about it, it makes for a perfect assassin. You can sneak up on threats while reading their minds, so you will actually be aware if they caught on to your presence. Then you choose to either take them out with your strength or hit them with a crazy dosage of radiation. Now, I think with this, it makes you more city level as a threat, but solely because of the radiation. But you can sneak and get launch codes from just sitting in the room with the right people. So with the possibility of being a global threat. But the next stack we have is telekinesis, super hearing, time travel, and necromancy. Now, looking at this, I'm not going to lie. This is a BS pairing of powers. Time travel easily solves most problems, but with the risk to the timeline. But once things get boring, you always can rely on your other powers. You can use telekinesis and necromancy with a healing factor that can correct any mistakes. This screams global threat since you can literally alter every major country in the world from one action. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I see a lot of y'all picking this because it's the easiest way to get a win. For some. Next stack is weather manipulation, technopath, and animal control. Now, all three of these allow you to bring the world to its knees. Three unstoppable forces at your control if you think about it deep enough. But I will say each power kind of gets in the way of the other. If you go too nuts with the weather, then you make it hard for any of your animals to do anything, or it could possibly black out any of the tech that you're using. So you have to pick how much you use when planning to use multiple powers at once. And depending on your ambition, you could technically go from being a global threat to a cosmic threat, because you can take the show on the road by having the tech build you a ship suitable enough to space travel. And then that's just to take you to another galaxy far away. And then no telling the animals you can come across on different planets or the weather, because I'm pretty sure you can safe to say all planets are affected by some type of weather system. And I'm pretty confident by now, most have already typed in the comments which set they think is the better choice. But let's move on to the next stack. Anatomical liberation, super hearing, elasticity, and radar sense. Now, individually, most would count out these abilities, but altogether, it's almost the same as having ultra instinct, level of awareness that is. You can basically sense all attacks and have the element of surprise by being able to stretch your limbs and then detach them at will. That's like having a Gomo Gomo pistol that separates like Buggy at the last second. That's pretty hard to effectively predict or counter. Now, threat level, since you can only do physical damage with these attacks, I would say city level at best, but that means threats would have to pull up and be crazily strong to deal with this power set. So which would you pick? And I get some will go straight for the OP option and others will pick the ones that seem more fun to have, but all of them are crazy when stacked. And which stack do you think has the highest chance of beating the rest? Let me know in the comments below.
Now, if you made it to the end of the video, I wanted to take this time to give everyone an update. Currently working on the next superpower video, and the thing right now I am nailing down is the choreography for the fight. So more of that is coming, but if you wish to see updates or know how the things are going, the process, the progress, all of that, make sure to follow me on Instagram where I update daily with stories, snippets, previews, and all that. Essentially like a free Patreon. If not, I'll always drop things here on the community tab as well.